Hello, my soul-seeking friends. It's Shanna. Thank you so much for listening to Sense of Soul podcast. Enlightening conversations with like-minded souls from around the world, sharing their journey of finding their light within, turning pain into purpose, and awakening to their true sense of soul. If you like what you hear, show me some love and rate, like, and subscribe. And consider becoming a Sense of Soul Patreon member, where you will get ad-free episodes, monthly circles, and much more. Now go grab your coffee, open your mind, heart, and soul. It's time to awaken. Hey listeners, did you know that 2024 is a leap year? And for this cosmic event, Jennifer Mitchell is joining us in Sense of Soul's Sacred Circle to facilitate a quantum leap experience. So coming up February 29th, it's only $29. And as a member of Sense of Soul's Patreon, you even get 25% off of that. Join us and embrace the cosmic influence of this transformational event to propel you into the future you desire. You do not want to miss this. You can find the link in the show notes, or you could visit www.senseofsoul.com. And I want to give a special shout out to my new Patreon members. And today is Lundi Gras, which is French for Fat Monday, the day before Mardi Gras. And so happy early Mardi Gras to all of my family and friends in Louisiana. And I'd also like to say happy Chinese New Year, especially to those who have the year of the dragon, like myself. And also this week is Valentine's Day. And I have the perfect guest for this week, Janine Lowe. She is UK's leading Chinese astrologist and feng shui expert. And she's also the author of the newly released book called Date, Love, Marry, Avoid. Find Your Soulmate. In this book, Janine set her aim towards helping people find their way every day using Chinese horoscopes and feng shui to help you find your soulmate, love, date, marry, or avoid in a fun, practical, and accessible guide to Chinese astrology. So please welcome Janine Lowe.
Hi,
Hi, Janine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Where do you join me from?
Brighton near West Sussex, UK.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm in Colorado,
Oh
in
God.
the States.
So you know Gavin then? Have you
I
written a
love Gavin. Yes.
have you written a book with through O Books?
No, I've only interviewed hundreds of his authors, though.
Okay. They
Yeah.
are great to work with, that's for sure. They've just got my second book. So I
Yeah.
did Chinese astrology, then I did Feng Shui. But I would like to know what year you're born in.
So I am the year of the dragon. So this is my year.
I love dragons. If anyone ever asked me which is my favorite animal, which they always do, I always say dragons. I
Yeah.
have affinity with dragons. They're mystical, they're intuitive, they're just my people. Do you know what I mean? So as soon as I start to work with a dragon, I'm like, so so what month are you born in, just for me?
My birthday is May 15th. So
Oh,
I'm a
dragon.
Taurus. Yeah.
Hey. All about the love. But your superpower is your intuition, by the way. If you have a superpower, it's your intuition.
Okay.
I'm going to shush now, and we can start.
I'm super excited to talk about this because, as a child, that was like my favorite thing to get the magazine and like scroll to the back. And I always wanted to find if they had the compatibility notes that went with your horoscope.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so Date, Love, Marry, Avoid was built on the fact that growing up, like you, I learned a lot about Western astrology. And I didn't know that much. I learned so much more because I keep being interviewed by Western astrologers, which I am loving because we're actually finding that the crossover is huge.
Okay.
I think they're different, but they're not different at all. They are very much the same. So like you, growing up, I was also in compatibility, and then there was a book when I was quite young, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
Yes,
And
read that one.
I really got stuck on it. And I thought, do you know what? I can't find a book with Chinese astrology that's the same. So I settled down with it. I have to get the title first. That's weird about, most people do the title last. So I went for Date, Love, Marry, Avoid because I just thought it said it all. Then I got my cover, and then I started writing the book. And because I've been studying Chinese astrology, oh, I don't know, 2008, and I interview well, I do loads of readings for people. I started, they would like tell you their date of birth, and then they would say people around them, how they affected their lives, and I could see some synergy in it. So I started working on it. And then I wrote in the book all the different characteristics of all the Chinese animals, so that if people were reading it, then what they could do is they could read about their partner, because it says date, love, marry, avoid. And someone said to me, a couple of people said, oh, it said avoid. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that's fine if it says avoid. But when you go back and read about them, there were things that you fell in love with. And no relationship is perfect, let's be honest. And they have said, they've gone back and said, oh yeah, that is the thing that really annoys me. Like, you're a dragon, so dogs will annoy you because dragons are really out there, yeah. And a dog will be more methodical, trustworthy, all that sort of thing. But whereas a dragon is really strong, out there, and will say what it feels and have very strong views, a dog will be happy at home, not saying they don't go to sports and all these sort of things, working on stamps, or, they can go very much into themselves. So whereas the dragon could be very out there, when the dog and the dragons get together, they have this little bit of, well, I don't know if you're right. Maybe you're right. Okay. But then in the book, I might not give them a date. I might say, just don't go out on a date. Yeah. But there are so many animals that you get on really well with. Being a
Oh,
dragon,
good.
so many rats, dragons and rats get on amazingly well, because both of you are very strong viewed on what you think about and how you feel about things, but you don't do it in a retaliative way. You like to listen to each other. So that really works. Monkeys are very good for dragons. You have more fun because monkeys are about the fun stuff, yeah. But then monkeys can get, there's this big show, they're all happy, but behind they can become quite lonely. And when the dragon comes in and sees it, can really support the monkey. So it's like, these are the sort of examples. So the book's based around that. It gives dates to go on. You don't have to go on the dates. Although, how about this? Someone said to me, we got the book and I was reading it, and it said that my husband and I should go to New York and have a glass of champagne. And guess what he bought her for Christmas? That. And they had the
Mm.
best time ever. So, there's good sides to it as well.
That's so amazing. So you just kind of start observing all of these different almost archetypes, right?
Yeah.
And seeing like what were their strengths and what were their weaknesses and started putting it together.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did do. I spent a lot of time on it because you can meet, like, there's an opposite, like a rooster. I'm a rooster. My clash is a rabbit, yeah. So you think, oh, right, so that's the clash. But we might turn up with exactly the same clothes on, because we're both into fashion and we love the same things. So we'll go into a shop together, because I actually have a very good rabbit friend, and we'll go into the shop together and we'll come out of the changing rooms with exactly the same stuff on. We're just like, really? Or we'll go somewhere, we meet for coffee and we haven't told each other and we've got the same. So the clash isn't a clash that's so horrific. It's just like, do you really want to turn up in the same clothes as your best mate? Not really.
Good point.
Yeah.
You
So
and
what
I.
I've tried to do is also I put in it just for interest for everybody. So it's not always about finding your soulmate, because I put in, like, what's your favorite day, what's your favorite color, what's your lucky number, etc. And when we put the underline is find your soulmate, actually, some of the people, well, one of my friends said to me, I took your book to Christmas, to the family Christmas, and it's like, oh, I get on with dad, but I don't get on with mum as well. So they use it like, friendship
Yes.
as well. So soulmate isn't always about your partner, because your best friend could be your soulmate, can't you?
Oh yeah, my best friend definitely is my soulmate. And also I see, so this is kind of funny. Just a few days ago, my kids and I were all looking up what we were. And it was so interesting, because we really were curious. And so I find it funny, my youngest daughter and I, who are so very aligned in our journeys, and from a very, very, very young age, she was very empathic. But we're both Tauruses and we're both dragons.
Okay, so, right. That's amazing. So you're both dragon and snake, yeah? And where I said intuitional, empathic is the word as well. And the snake is really the more empathic. It's the ability to generally see things before they happen. And it's when they're younger, they sometimes slip up more. As we get older, we don't tend to say, "Oh, I knew that was going to happen." We don't voice
We
what
doubt
we,
it a little
yeah.
bit, or yeah.
Whereas children are pure, they just say it. Well, I have a son, he's actually a pig, but Chinese ways pig. And I grew up teaching him that anything's possible and never classed it. I remember once, and I don't know if this got anything to do with it, but he said, Mum, there's a wolf in the garden, it's got the cat. And I was like, what do you mean? You know, when he went to bed. Next morning, I get up and my little cat, its leg had been dislocated. No wolf, obviously, but he had seen that. Intuitively, he knew that cat had got into danger, and he, you know, when they're young, 6 or 7, it's wolves, isn't it? So
Mhm.
it's about never shutting anybody down,
Mhm.
always giving them a little bit of time to understand.
I know. And I almost love learning more about their signs and their charts and stuff because it helps me understand them more. And it also helps me understand our relationship.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have a daughter who is about to be 25. Her birthday's 2/22/99, and she was born at 5:55.
222.
She is a rabbit. And, but what's interesting, I was going to ask you, is there two different kinds of rabbits?
5.
All right. Well, tell me, what
Oh,
are they?
okay. Did you say she's born on the 2nd of the 2nd?
Yeah, she's born on February 22nd.
Right.
Mhm.
My son's 2nd of the 2nd. So I thought
Oh,
I'd
okay.
So what you have is, so the book's generic. It's not done on all the fire. It's done generically on rabbits.
Okay.
But you have 5 different rabbits. So you have
I didn't know
you know,
this.
the 5 elements. You have a fire rabbit, you have an earth
Oh.
rabbit, you have a metal rabbit, you have a water rabbit, and you have a wood rabbit. If you have a wood rabbit, you have a rabbit that will never stop talking. Never, 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 never stop talking. If you have a water rabbit, you have a rabbit that is very family orientated. And we just had a water rabbit last year. And water rabbits are very much about being social, family, that sort of thing. And then if you have a metal rabbit, I don't think which year that was, metal rabbits, they tend to go 2 ways. If you think of a sword, cutting them in half, they find it hard to make decisions. So you can go much deeper into it. With the Chinese astrology, we use the year that you're born, which is friends and family, the month that you're born, which is career. Yeah. So if I was interviewing someone and I could say, so she might be a rabbit in career in her month. Yeah. And then she would make a very good counselor. Yeah. But then if she was a rooster in her career, she might maybe make a really good solicitor. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's quite deep. And then you have the day, and the day you're born is your relationship with yourself and your partner. And the hour you're born is the relationship with your children and your wealth. So when I do a reading, basically, say I'm doing something for a company will have its own date when it started. So then they'll say to me, want to launch product, Janine, when's the best time? Yeah. So
Okay.
that's how the company use me. But you coming to me for a reading be about all the people around you, you know, your 4 children, your partner, and see how you integrate and how you get on. So the book Date, Love, Marry is a simplification of that. So when
Oh,
people say, oh, it says avoid, I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit more than that. This is a fun book to pick up, but tells you a lot about yourself. That's the whole point of it. Yeah.
and everyone around you.
And everyone around you. Yeah. So my mum, she was a snake. She passed last year, and we had quite a good relationship. But when it came to our careers, I was like the black sheep. I went down my spiritual path. She wanted me to be a secretary. So there's that clash, you know. She wanted me to have a proper job, which she thought was a proper job, not what I do as a feng shui consultant and everything. She turned and understood in the end. But when you've
Yeah.
got a 17, 18-year-old going, I can't sit in the classroom, Mum, I just can't take it in. So there's different ways that different people don't get on. But so what are your other children then? What other animals are they?
So I have one that's a goat and one that's an ox.
Oh, do they get on?
Do they
Is
get along? They're all so different. Every one of my kids are so, so, so different. They're all very supportive. And my daughter, who's the rabbit,
What month is she born in?
February, so she's the 222,
Oh, okay, so
99.
that's the tiger. So she's born in the year of the rabbit,
Uh,
and the month
okay.
of February
Okay,
is
it's Tiger.
tiger month. So her
Mm.
career, she is a go-getter. So she'll go out and get things. So if you were looking at the book, you'd look at a tiger for her career, then you would see more of the characteristics in that. I have broken it down in the book so you can work out your year and your month and your hour. So she would be a go-getter. And tigers are very
Yeah,
successful.
she is. So isn't that amazing? So just by these three little things in 2 seconds, you knew that that was right on. Isn't that amazing? It's fascinating. It has often been in my journey that things that I have struggled with have been my greatest teachers and the greatest attributes about me that I've learned to adapt to. So, like you had mentioned, the rabbit, the wood would be a talker. If this person is actually opposite in their life, what does that show? Is it showing an imbalance or?
It probably will be about imbalance in their chart, which will mean that one of the animals within them, yeah, so year, one animal, you can double or triple up, by the way. I have got some that's got three roosters. So the year is an animal. Yeah. Oh dear, she's lovely. Year is one animal, the month is an animal. So they're the outsides, yeah. So then you have an animal for the day and an animal for the hour. So if you had a
Wow.
monkey in your outside chart, so you're born in the year of the monkey, yeah, but you'd be born on the day of the tiger, because monkeys and tigers clash, that sort of person will find it very hard to make a decision because tigers are decision makers.
Mm.
Monkeys don't. So you can undo things. I was working with a very big interior designer, absolutely amazing, thrown into colors and all her favorite things. But to go out and actually make a decision for her business, when I do people's charts, that's very easy to pick up. And the
Mhm.
beauty of what you said is I do know all my animals. So as soon as you say something, I'll be like, ah, yeah, I know. But one of the things I want to pick up on what you said is that, which is really important, I think, is that when you get given hardships or challenges,
Mm.
I never see them as bad because I have learnt my biggest answers to my world by having a challenge.
Yeah.
So,
How you grow. Yeah.
yeah. And you get to know more of what you truly are and what you want because we're not born knowing what we want. We get born knowing what our parents want for us, don't we? What I've done in my journey of Chinese astrology is learnt to learn more about myself. And I think that's
Mhm.
really important, and my negatives. Every one of us comes with negatives. Mine's usually, oh, I want that Range Rover, you know, as I'm always told, oh, I want that. So yeah, I think that's it. And I think when you like, as I say in the book, when you start to read all the things, they will resonate with you.
I know it. That's what I find is just so amazing. A lot of people will say, like, Taurus are stubborn and bullheaded. And mine's not an obvious one, but I am. I have a hard time asking for help. Like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
Oh, but the thing about the snake, which is a month of May, you have this secretness about you.
Mm,
It's not saying you're sly, it's
right. Keep
secretness.
it in. Yeah.
And you keep it in and you're not actually reveal it unless really pushed by someone really close to you that would actually say, that knows you like your best friend. She'll know it,
Yeah.
but other people will just, I mean, it takes a lot for people to care about each other, doesn't it? Because people always put themselves first, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Unless you're a mother, and then you learn that you have to drink cold tea and cold coffee and all this sort of thing. So it does match up about the Taurus and the snake. But it says you're very good with figures when you're working out your accounting, like the job as a podcaster, it will be precisely right. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't want, it's like a bit of an OCD effect on it,
It's
really.
so true.
Yeah, it has to be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I know my kids always tell me it doesn't have to be perfect. And the one who tells me that the most is the my youngest one who aligns with me, who's a dragon and a Taurus. But her birthday is at the end of April.
So she will be a double dragon. So I'm going to say something out loud here. She could
Uh-oh.
be, right, Mother Teresa,
Mm.
or she could be Al Capone. She can live in the dark world or she can live in the good world. She
So true.
aligns to it. She aligns to it. It's not like the goat who will not make a decision, not make a decision. She is very strong, but double
Mm.
dragon, massive, massive. October 8th to November 6th, I think, you need to give her, some extra attention just so she knows, because she this
Mhm.
year is quite a hard year in that she's in her year and a lot going on. It's like she
Yeah.
needs to lead the way all the
She's
time.
11. Do you remember when you were 11? She's so going through all of her dragon, believe me. Whoo!
Tick
But
tock, tick
she's
tock.
still very sweet. But you know what's really interesting is that she's told me many times that she has this fire within her, and she sometimes doesn't know how to control it.
Double dragon, they find school very hard because they have so strong a view. If the
Mhm.
teacher comes over a bit weak, or even start to tell them to do things that they don't think is right, that's when the school starts to be a problem for them. And yet, they are so interested in history and so interested in everything. And they will have the views that they have, especially as she grows older politically, or not necessarily politically, on life. Like dragons can make really good teachers. But for me, I always think they go into things like you and I are doing because their spiritual side is so huge. They can become feng shui consultants, Chinese astrologers, anything like that. Because as they get older, they get more sage. They have more good advice to give, but
Have
they
you?
learn it.
My partner is also a Taurus, and he is a rabbit. I think he's a wood, and he is not a talker. But when he does talk, everybody shuts up because there's all this wisdom that'll come from him.
So is he 1975 rabbit?
Hmm.
1975, yeah. So he is a wood rabbit. And is he a May baby or is
Yeah,
he?
May.
So what happens there? Okay, so he's wood, and the element for snake is fire.
Mm.
So where he comes from when he does talk, it comes from a form of wisdom because we know the snake is intuitive and we know it has wisdom behind it. So that's where it comes from. When you say, I have two very good friends that are wood, and they are so much fun, by the way. They love to enjoy themselves, yeah. But home is very important to them. And
Mm.
I think by the sounds of your family, without their charts in front of me, just what we're saying, I think home is the heart for them.
Yeah.
The kitchen, very important to them.
Yeah, especially to my partner.
Yeah. Some people don't. They have like horses and rats in their house, and generally they won't get on. Yeah. So you have to be very aware. Like the client that I just talked about, their husband took her to New York. In her house, she has snakes and oxes as well, which doesn't match them, but the kids are like tight, and she will give them the extra thing because of her own personality. And they all thought that was amazing that he did that for her. That you
Mm.
can mess it up. There's not a problem, but I think it's quite, when the people told me about Christmas that they took it to this Christmas family, there's 17 of them around Christmas lunch, and the book got handed round to see which animal they were.
Uh-huh.
And the stories that I was told was actually really good fun. So yeah. And another client of mine, she owns a beauty salon, and she, rather than for putting magazines out, she's put the book out. And she said it's literally all the women, like it's like a nail studio and that, and they're all talking to this between them. I was really surprised when someone else the other day and I went, "You put my book out," but it's just so much fun. Everybody
The
enjoys it.
sound. Yes. Me, my kids do this kind of stuff all the time. It's so fun to learn. Like, what are you? I mean, even sometimes we're all comparing, what moon were you born on? I mean, we're always doing stuff like that. And it is fun. And then you get to, oh, this is why you're like this. And of course, you're always wanting to see who you're most compatible with and who you're not. Now, if you're not compatible with somebody, kind of like those opposites attract sometimes, right? Can you have harmony? Hey, animal lovers, have you ever wondered what your fur baby is thinking or you just want to connect with your animal on a deeper level, well, look no further than Sense of Soul's new affiliate, animal communicator, the talented Nicole Harp. Nicole can help you intuit the connection between your soul and higher source as she uncovers and shares important insights with you to create a happy and joyful life for both you and your loving animal. Nicole connected to my dogs, Ayla and Rascal, and it was one of the neatest sessions I have ever experienced. She offered my family a glimpse into their world and offered helpful suggestions, making information individualized and purposeful, which led to healing for the whole family. She creates an open-hearted experience that you will remember and treasure. Wait no longer to connect with your soul and the souls of your loving animals. Contact Nicole today and experience the magic of her work. Go to her website, harpspace.org. That's HARPSPACE.org. And make sure to tell Nicole that you found her from Sense of Soul podcast. You can also go to www.senseofsoulpodcast.com. Under the Network of Lightworkers, you can find these links in the show notes. Now back to our amazing guest.
You can have a form of harmony, and I do believe opposites attract. But for instance, I was somewhere and someone said, "Oh, I got your book. I've been going at this guy for 3 years, and you've got us a void." And I'm like, "How's it going then?" And she went, "Oh, you know." But some people some people stay with people when they're the wrong people, and I don't mean that in a nasty way. Some people are attracted to, I don't know what you call it, chaos maybe, and that relationship becomes chaos. And so when people have talked to me, I've said, well, just tell me about your relationship, tell me about your animals, and I will tell you something about yourself. You know, you can get drawn into that. That's like the life you lead, isn't it?
Or it's like, you could also be like, I remember when my daughter, she bought a hamster. My partner, when we brought it home, he was like, oh boy, it's a lesson learner.
Yeah, they tend to go to sleep and not wake up, don't they?
And it was a lesson though. And so sometimes those, relationships that are chaotic are also lessons, of what not to.
100%. 100%. I mean, if you think about your not necessarily your first love, because that could be the right thing during our life. I mean, I'm not saying people have lots of partners, but you do meet sometimes the wrong people. But also, I think that, I do think you get attracted to people like they say Libra and Aries are very attracted to each other, and they're opposite signs. But you have to find your way to stay or understand what you need. So what I've understand is Aries are really sexual. They're this, they're this, they're this, they're this. Libra, and they're out there doing things. And Libra like to be homebirds, all this sort of thing, or like everything to be balanced. And I think going back, I think that's the thing with all the animals. I think the Chinese animals, we all have that. It's what do we want? Because we're all made up. There's so many different things, aren't we? Yeah, I get what you're saying. So the lesson learned about the hamster was,
It was so sad. And she took such good care of it. Yeah.
the only reason I know that is because my son had one and he went, "Mummy, it won't wake up." And I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
she held it till it took its last breath
Oh, bless her. Oh,
and kept it warm. Oh, yeah.
oh,
She loves animals more than she does people.
I get that. I did a talk last night and they put author, feng shui consultant, Chinese astrologer, animal lover. And like the picture they put up was me because I rescue cats off the street and find them homes and everything. Just a part of what I'm made up from. I don't know how to do it any other. But being a child, being intuitive and like yours, it was easier to be around an animal than it was to be around a human when you're younger because you can't understand how you can't voice it. She's obviously got a good mother in you because you understand it. But if you don't have a good mother that wants to blanket, I remember I used to answer the phones before they rang, as a little girl. "Oh, the phone's ringing. Shall I pick it up?" And my mum would go, "It's not ringing." And then it would ring. She would hate it.
And she likes music. She plays the violin. Yeah, there's all these things that take her away from the outside world that she finds peace in.
Did
Yeah.
you have that when you were growing up as well
Oh
then?
yeah,
Struggle.
same.
Mm.
Just like that. Yeah. So I'm not surprised that she's the year of the dragon, the same, as my
Yeah.
horoscope. It just seems like we're kind of aligned. We don't always get along. That's the truth. I mean, I push her and she pushes me, but even that, it's not in the same way as with my other children. It's just still a little different. It's her trying to grow up and me trying to keep her small. She's my baby.
I think that as you grow up, I think your discussions in your life is going to be interesting. The good thing is because you are so aligned, dragons really like to learn things around, well, we'll say spirituality. So if you said, all right, we're going to go to a medium or something, she'd be like, yeah, let's go. Do you know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
let's
Yeah.
go, let's go to a gong bath. She will
Mhm.
love that.
So when she was little, maybe like 4 or 5, probably about 5, I was giving Reiki to somebody at home. And during my session, she comes in my room and puts her hands on this lady's feet and then
Mm.
leaves. I was like,
I'm a Reiki master teacher, yeah. And I have a cat. And as soon as I'm teaching or Reiki's been given, she'll come in the room and just curl all
yep.
around it. And I got her at 5 weeks old and I didn't let her go. And I Reiki'd her from a very, very early age. So for me, oh, and she's born in the snake. So that's interesting. So they do. And I think this is something that you will be able to share with her as soon as she's ready to have the symbols put in her and she can
Mhm.
start to use it.
I asked her that when she was little if she wanted me to attune her, and she said no. And I was like, okay. I too, like you said with your son, I allow her to
Yeah.
experience and not have that confined box that I lived in growing up. But you know what? It is hard when you go out there because you're right. When she goes to school, she sees this small thinking and, everyone trying to be put in the same box. And there's resistance, just like you said.
Yeah. And it won't get any better until she chooses what she wants to do at school. Now, she will be good at school eventually, but when she can choose what she does. But if you get the wrong teacher, you've got no chance with her. No
So
chance.
true. And you know all this because of your study of this? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, and you also are intuitive.
So when I was a lot younger, one of my friends, when you get to an age where your friends accept you, she said you need to find something. So I found Feng Shui. So I hid behind Feng Shui, but still was intuitive. But it wasn't enough. So when I started to learn Chinese astrology, which is metaphysics, so 1 and 1 makes 2, yeah, it was really lovely because I can just say to you, just from your date of birth, I can say all this about you, and it's the truth. But if I was sitting beside you and I held your hand on something or just be in your energy, I would know so much more. But this
Right.
is what's happened because of obviously I'm not able to travel. In 2020, I had to go on to Zooms.
Hmm.
And that's when I thought, oh my goodness, look at this whole picture you already know. And that's where it matured in the last 4 years to where I am. And that's where the book came from because it became so obvious talking to people for longer, an hour and a half a person or whatever. And then you have the charts up so you can read people's charts because there's so much more to it. But yeah, I think the other thing is if you love it, I love
Yeah.
Chinese astrology with a passion. I just love it. As I can see, it helps so many people. Obviously, this is a love book. I work with business as well, but you know, you've got all these dating sites, yeah, you put a picture of yourself up, which evidently can be out of date, yeah, and they can say, "Oh, I'm this or that." But if they put on there and went, "I'm a monkey," yeah, you would genuinely know their character then, wouldn't you? Because you'd
Right.
have the background. They couldn't lie because it's all in the background, yeah.
Oh,
Any dating site, big agency that want me, I will do an app for you or add me to your app and you will get more because I think this, I'm not saying they're fake, but it's what you say you are. Whereas if you put
yes.
something like they can't get away with it in there,
Good point. Oh my gosh. I have your book, PDF, because Gavin sent it to me, but I want this book physically. And I know that my whole house is going to be super excited to read it. I might have to find more than one, or we're going to be fighting over it. And I also have an affiliate program when I really feel excited about something that I think my listeners would really, really love and enjoy. And I think that I would love to invite you to the Network of Lightworkers.
Network of light workers.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, definitely send it to
Yes.
me. I love that. I mean, I have a paid group. I have a Facebook page which has 250K followers, but I have my own paid small group. I think it's about 90 in it. And all of those people are what I class as light workers. And it's
Yeah.
amazing. I started to learn about Western astrology as well as Chinese astrology in the last 2 years. I've loved the overlap. And when I wrote the second book that's coming out, I had to learn about crystals because everyone talks about crystals. Well, it's
Yeah.
never been my thing, but
Mhm.
now I'm totally hooked. My present for my son, he's a Aquarius, was can't think what it is. It's purple, and I found one down the lanes in Brighton, and it was his. That's it, and that was his Christmas present. And he went, "Oh wow," you know.
So when my dad died, I was about to go into my Reiki 3, and this is like 8 years ago, into my master class. And I didn't have any crystals and gemstones either, and I wasn't really into it. So my Reiki master teacher had said, bring with you some gemstones, because we're going to be doing crystal grids. And I was like, I don't have any. And then I thought, wait a minute. My dad had a little kid rock collection,
Right?
these little, old tubs with a little kid handwriting in these little tiny drawers that would pull out. And
Wow.
girl, it was a treasure. It still is. So I decided to keep it. I asked my brother, I'm like, do you want these? And he's like, no. And they became like of all the things that my dad left behind, it's like, it is treasure.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny about you say about your dad because my dad was a huge supporter of my. Like, I remember being outside his house and I was going home and they had a bungalow and I said, Dad, I can hear water running and I think it's going to come into your bedroom. They had a bungalow, yeah. So we got all the dowsing rods out. No, nothing. That night, and we're talking in my 40s, the water came straight through to his room and soaked him. Mum was like, oh, like this. When he passed in 2017, he has definitely been around for me, like come back, his energy has been around. And then mum died just 3 months ago, and she was difficult. She wasn't the easiest person to get on with. And it's him. It was him that came back. He's the one that came back. Yeah, when people talk about angels and all this sort of thing, I definitely believe in energies coming around you and being with you and supporting you. But going back to crystals, that was such a learning curve to me, but I actually loved it. I loved learning about it. I would never be
Yeah.
an expert on it, but I loved learning about it.
You know what, Janine, this has been just such a pleasure to have you and meet you. And I would love to continue to work with you. And I can't wait to get your book in my hands. And I can't wait to just learn more about myself through your book. And I've already learned so much, just in this hour. Thank you.
It's been lovely speaking to you, and I look forward to working with you as we
Yeah, I know.
go
I want
forward.
to share you with everyone.
Thank you.
So tell everybody where they can find your book again and tell them the name of the book. And also if you have a website or some social media you want to throw out there.
Okay, so the book is called Date, Love, Marry, Avoid. You can buy it on Amazon, but I don't know, but it is in your big shops over in America, but I don't know all their names. My website is www.janinelo.co.uk, and on Facebook as well. You'll find it, you can see a picture of it. And I give feng shui tips, like every Thursday, feng shui tips. I also share like I love, I don't know what you call posts that just mean something. So I share those and I teach Chinese astrology. So yeah, that's me. I'm there.
That's awesome. Maybe I'll have you on in the future to talk about just feng shui.
Yes, my book comes out in December. So yeah, that will be good.
Okay. All right. That would be great. Thank you again so much. We'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Thank you. Bye. Hello, my soul seeking friends. It's Shanna. Thank you so much for listening to Sense of Soul podcast. Enlightening conversations with like-minded souls from around the world, sharing their journey of finding their light within, turning pain into purpose, and awakening to their true sense of soul. If you like what you hear, show me some love and rate, like, and subscribe. And consider becoming a Sense of Soul Patreon member, where you will get ad-free episodes, monthly circles, and much more. Now go grab your coffee, open your mind, heart, and soul. It's time to awaken.